For a long time in my early years of guitar playing, I thought of boost pedals as kind of unexciting. To be fair to me, I didn't really understand a lot about how gain stages worked, and distortion was just something that happened when I stepped on a foot switch. I was young and dumb, okay? And full of One of the good things about YouTube, and one of the reasons I started the channel, is the opportunity to spare beginners a lot of that kind of confusion. The foundation of all guitar tone is rooted in how much signal amplitude is hitting the next input. Not just the amplifier's input, but also the input of the effects loop return, or the input of any guitar pedal. How any of those things sound can be fundamentally changed by increasing the amount of gain going in, and that can fundamentally change your entire guitar tone. Some kinds of pedals, like for example this Boss Metal Zone or this Full Tone OCD, have controls for level or volume, which are both ways of saying output amplitude. And when you turn them up past unity gain, which is a way of saying that when they're on the sound is louder than when they're off, they're boosting your signal. But sometimes you want a pedal that only does that, without adding any distortion or other effects. That's what's known as a clean boost. The Monty's More pedal has not one, but two clean boosts, and in just a second I'm going to tell you why that's more than twice as good. But first, I want you to admire this design. You want a stomp box that looks like Reagan is still in the White House? You want to feel like you're stepping on Marty McFly's hoverboard? This is the pedal for you. And look at this graphic, coffin-shaped popsicles. So you know that behind this thing's cheerful appearance, there's a sincere commitment to the darkness that lies in the heart of every rock and roller. And not only that, but check this out, hot pink LEDs. I f***ing love it. The Monty's More was designed in association with Steve Crow from the awesome Audio Kitchen and contains two JFET clean boosts in the same pedal, each with up to 15 dB of boost. It can be run at 9 volts and also at 18 volts for a bit more headroom. Because each boost has an independent level control, you can use them separately for two different levels of boost. Or you can run them both together for up to 30 dB of combined boost. You can run the first boost high and the second low, or vice versa to get different sounds. Or, as I've found, although they are the same circuit, they sound very slightly different, with the first boost having a slightly more forward presence. So you can run them at the same level for two different sounds. That's gonna be subtle, but there's nothing wrong with subtle. Sometimes subtle is exactly what you want. And that's not all. The Monty's More has an effects loop between the two boosts, which gives you a bunch of different options. You can, for example, stick an overdrive pedal like the OCD into the effects loop, use the first boost to push the pedal into more saturation, and the second boost to give you a volume jump. Or you can do kind of the same thing, but with your amp's effects loop, running the send into your amp's input, your amp's effects send into the pedal's return, and the pedal's output into the amp's effects return. So you can use the first boost to push the front of your amp, and the second boost to give you a volume jump into your amp's power stage. In practical terms, what you've got is two separate boost pedals, and the effects loop acts like a semi-normal patch bay, where if you're just going into the input and out of the input, the boosts are just wired in series. But you can treat them like two separate pedals, using the effects send as the first pedal's output and the effects return as the second pedal's input. This means you can put either boost anywhere you like in your chain, or even run the second boost into the first boost, although I don't know why you would do that. It's possible is what I'm saying because of how flexible this pedal design is. And it's at this point that I'm going to mention the price, which is £160. That's already quite affordable for a boutique pedal made in the UK, but when you consider you're actually getting two pedals, that's crazy value. Disclosure: Monty's have sent me this pedal for the video, and they've also sent me a bunch of other really cool stuff too, like a wiring loom for my Les Paul, some waxes to maintain my guitars, and even a set of slotted broadcaster screws so I can pretend my Telecaster was made in the 50s. I have used and will continue to use all of it because it's great, and I will give them my business in the future, and so should you. So if you're in the market for a boost, or for two boosts, or for two boosts in the same enclosure with an effects loop and an awesome 80s color scheme, the Monty's More Double Boost is going to tick all of your boxes and more. Do you see what I did there? Thanks again to Monty's Guitars for sending me the More pedal. Thanks to my patrons on Patreon. Thanks as always to you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.